Well, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to everybody that is tuning in to have a look at this very first hangout that we're doing for Carrot Bars. Delighted to be back in the fold after a period of absence. And what I would like to tell you, first of all, is that we're going to be joined this evening and talking specifically about a business that's 6 years old, based in Germany, and where it enables the masses globally to now buy gold in very small quantities and have it delivered to your door. Very impressive. Now, what I also would like to add in is that we have got one of the US top leaders who's been in Carrot Bars for a long, long time joining us very shortly. She's got a pressing schedule today, but we'll be here, I hope, within the next 15 minutes or so. For those of you tuned in, there's a variety of links that have been issued out, and I just wanted to make sure you're aware that you can not only watch it on the links that we've issued, but obviously you can forward back through to YouTube and watch it from there. Just before we start, I'm just going to make sure that we are streaming correctly in the places that we should be. So bear with me 1 second if you could while I just check that and refresh the page. Okay, that all seems to be well. So let me give you a little bit of background before we start. My name is Lee Oakey, and I've actually been registered and involved with this business, and I use that word very loosely, for around about 2 years. Now, please don't take this as a great example of what to do, but I had a look at it around 2 years ago, was very intrigued with some of what I heard, but timing for me was a little difficult. I had a lot on the go at the time, and regret it now, I have to say. So I opened up a free account, got registered. Now, that has actually stood me in really good stead, because there's an awful lot of things that have happened in the last 2 years since that. However, I have now had a much closer look at what is going on, and we're very excited to be building now an international team within Carrot Bars. Now, how does that help you for somebody that's maybe tuning in for the first time? Well, very simply, this is very much a team business. It may be that you just want to come in and purely take advantage of being able to buy gold in small denominations, and I'm going to go into that in a moment, and have it delivered to your door, unheard of up until now. Or you may decide that you would like to get the rewards of not only doing that, but sharing what is going on with other people. Because I trust you, trust me with one thing, and I promise you faithfully, when you start telling people exactly what has happened, that you're having gold delivered to your door by FedEx every week, every month, they're going to get very curious, want to know what's going on, and the company itself handsomely rewards you for doing exactly that. So I'm not going to waste up too much time. What I'm going to do before I start is just give you an idea of what I'm going to show you. We're going to keep this very brief, around about 40 minutes. I'm going to give you a complete business overview, explain exactly the two sides to the business. Everybody not necessarily will be wanting to be involved in both, but I think please just stay with the PowerPoint slides for you that I've put together. I'm going to take it very slowly because we've got people tuning in from all over the world, and that's the wonderful thing about Carrot Bars. They are already in a phenomenal amount of countries, which we'll go into, but I'm talking to people in New Zealand, Pakistan, India, UK, France, all over the world, who all understand the benefits that Carrot Bars can actually bring you. What I will be doing at the end is for those of you that are tuned in, if there are any questions, I'm going to look in and just pick up any questions that have been posted underneath the videos. If you've got a Facebook account, you can drop in and ask away on those, and we'll take a look at those. And as I say, we should be joined very shortly by Cheryl Ann Gober. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and just make sure that you can see that okay, and we'll get started on what this is all about. Okay, well, hopefully that's broadcasting and transmitting okay. So as it says, welcome. please just keep an open mind. I'm going to take you through a number of slides. As I said, I'm going to do this very slowly so that it does sink in. But of course, do bear in mind, you can watch this back at any time after today's recordings. So we'll be issuing the links out to make sure that you can see everything in case some of you can't. And you'll be able to go back through this at your leisure and get a good understanding of exactly how this works. It's very simple, which is one of the things I love about it. But sometimes when you're seeing it for the first time, it can take a while to go in. So obviously, we're here to talk about Karat bars. Now, Karat bars really is all based around gold. For the first time ever, as far as I'm aware, Karat bars have given us an ability to start to think about our lives in a different way and being in a position to buy gold in small denominations. Now, the market's huge. As it says here, that less than 1% of the world's populations have actually got access to gold or have gold in their hands, on their hands, or anywhere around their lifestyle. So the global market is absolutely enormous and completely untapped. Now, why? Well, it's simple, because really up until now, to buy gold in convenient, affordable sizes just simply has not been possible. You've either needed to be buying significant amounts, and then of course you have to look at a broker in order to do that, and storage facilities and so on. For the average person like you and I, that's just out of our realm. But all that has now changed. Welcome to Karat bars. So what is, or who is, Karat bars? Well, what I can tell you is that I've been watching them for the last 2 years. They're a 6-year-old German company based in Stuttgart, and they're owned by CEO and founder Harald Seiss. Now, as Harald says here, his mission is to produce the highest quality gold available in the market, make it easily accessible to the masses of honest people around the world at a price point that everyone can afford. Now, his goal really is focused on one thing, and that's to help millions of people around the world find financial freedom from the current system of debt. And we'll explain that in a little more detail. So why gold? Why are we picking this particular commodity to do this? Well, firstly, it's been recognized to have value for over 2,800 years. And since 1805, gold has steadily risen in value. Now, to give you an idea of to what extent, in 1945, 1 ounce of gold was worth $35. Now, today, the same ounce of gold is worth approximately $1,100. So there's been a massive rise in that period. Now, in 1970, 1 gram of gold was worth $1.32. And today, the same gram of gold is worth about $55. Now, the reason I've picked a gram, because that's very relevant. That's the smallest quantity that we are able to buy and have delivered directly to our door from Karat bars, which we can do on a weekly or monthly basis. And I'll explain more as we go on. Now, in the same period from 1970, our paper currencies that we print at will are just worth less and less. And that goes for everything: the euro, the pound, the dollar. All of them are going in the wrong direction. College education, for example, has gone up 1,000%. Healthcare has gone up 600%. Energy costs globally have gone up 366%. Food prices have gone up 243%. And even car prices have doubled. So the question you need to ask yourself is, why do we keep saving in paper currency when the value of that paper currency is just getting less and less? There is a much better way. Now, as I said, Karat bars enables us to buy gold in small quantities, weekly or monthly, and typically in weights, and you can buy more, but typically in weights of 1 gram, 2.5, or 5 grams. And they look like this. This shows you how well this company is organized. Now, they're a credit card style card. And you can see here, these are the cards that depict the 1, the 2.5, and the 5 gram of gold bullion. The centerpiece, in case you're amazed as to how this works, is actually the gold bar itself. So that's how small it's been manufactured. And you can see here that this is how they're inserted within the cards. It's 999.9 pure gold, 24 karat gold bars. And as I said, they're just simply inserted into the center of the cards and then dispatched and delivered to your door by this guy. So my question to you is, how do you think you will feel when your gold arrives? Well, having gone through that process and spoken to many people that have that happen to them every single week, I can tell you, you're going to feel like this little chap here on Christmas Eve. Absolutely ecstatic. You open your package up and inside are your gold bars. Now, of course, you need to start planning ahead, because having a lot of gold sitting around the house is not always a good thing. I've actually opened a safety deposit box here in one of the banks, and you need to obviously make your necessary provisions for that. But what I can tell you is one thing, that when it starts to happen, and of course, you know, you may be a little bit skeptical, but I can assure you there's no reason to be. It's fully insured. It gets dispatched by Carat Bars via FedEx globally, and arrives at your door. Now, what I can tell you is that you are going to want to tell absolutely everyone that you come into contact of what it is you're now doing, and how it is that it's not only enabling you to buy the gold in small quantity, but enabling you to build a business at the same time if you so wish. Now, this is where it starts to get really interesting. So please just stay with me, keep your minds open, because I'm going to show you how not only do you have an option to buy gold in the small quantities, but how you can start to leverage that to build a very sustainable business. So far, you've seen how you can take your paper money, you can buy gold in small quantities, you can have it delivered to your door, and all the time you're doing that, you're hedging yourself against inflation. And one thing that I love about the company is that there is an option at any point to sell it back to Carat Bars if you need, for whatever reason, to liquidate and release some capital, and you want to sell back some of your gold, then Carat Bars do that on a day-by-day basis. That provision is there for you. Now, at the moment, you may be wondering how the company has developed since they got started and established around 6 years ago. And I can tell you there's over 500,000 customers doing this in over 120 countries around the world. And it's important for me to emphasize that this business is for absolutely everyone. And what I mean by that is even people with very little disposable income, you can get started for free, you can share with others, earn commissions, and then you can exchange those in with Carat Bars and grow your business from there. About people that just need to have sufficient funds immediately in order to get started. This is global and appeals to everybody around the world. Now, what I'm going to do is now just take you through the second part of the business, which is if you choose and opt to share this with other people, this is Carat Bars' referral program. So how does it work? Well, very simply, Carat Bars pay you for sharing this with other people. And as I've said, once you start to see how it works and your delivery comes in from FedEx, you're going to want to do nothing but that. Now, there are many different ways that you can get paid, and a couple of them are on here. Obviously, for referring a gold buying customer, suggesting to somebody else that they might want to look at buying gold in small quantities from Carat Bars. Referring a sharing customer, somebody who maybe doesn't want to buy gold initially, but would like to network and share this amazing business opportunity with other people. Or, of course, referring a customer that wants to do both. But there are many additional bonus levels, which we will get back to later. But at the moment, what I'd like to do is just look at two of the main ones for now. Now, before I do that, I'd just like to read you a very brief earnings and income disclaimer. We make every effort to ensure that we accurately represent these products and services and their potential for income. Earning and income statements made by Carat Bars and its customers are estimates of what we think you can possibly earn. There is no guarantee that you will make these levels of income, and you accept the risk and that the earnings and income statements differ by individual. As with any business, your results may vary and will be based on your individual efforts, business experience, expertise, and your level of desire. There are no guarantees concerning the level of success you may experience. And one thing I'd like to add is that also carrot bars do limit you to the amount of money that you can earn. So it's important for me to emphasize that you cannot exceed weekly earnings of $1.8 million. Now, we say that a little bit tongue-in-cheek, and I think I heard Cheryl Ann actually arriving in the background, but it's something that we've discussed. There are a number of people I can tell you that are pushing forward to get as close to that as they possibly can. It hasn't been done yet in carrot bars. You may be looking at it and think, well, you'd like a crack at that yourself, to be the first person within carrot bars that is generating that as a weekly income. And when you start to see how rapidly this business expands and grows, if you choose to get involved in the dual plan, then you'll understand why it is a great opportunity to consider. So let's talk about the dual team affiliate plan. Now, to get involved, you need to purchase one of 4 packages. There is a bronze, silver, gold, or VIP package. Now, these packages are made up, and I won't go into all the information, but you can look back at this at any time. They each have a different value, which we're going to look very closely at in a moment. They each come complete with a whole host of things, and most importantly, they come complete with gold bars. So you'll see in there that if you look at the VIP gold and silver package, and you scroll down the text in there, it indicates that, for example, in the silver package, you can see there is a 1 gram classic carrot bar, gold carrot bar that is sent to you together with other things. The VIP package, of course, has 3 of those gold bars in there, and so on. Now, the way that the dual team affiliate plan works is that we're basically building 2 teams. We need to purchase the one-time business package, as I've already mentioned. We're building 2 teams, one to the left and one to the right. Now, that enables us to receive direct commissions back from the company, a team cycle bonus. But it's important for me to emphasize that if you've been involved in other businesses before, there are no ongoing further qualifications that you would expect to see in the multi-level marketing business. You don't need to continue to pay monthly fees. There is no further qualifications. Once you've purchased your package and you've got your teams underway, then you are up and running. And what I can tell you is that the way that your commissions are paid to you is on a Carrot Bars MasterCard. Now, they're paid every week, and you would receive notification of those commissions are loaded from your back office onto your own Carrot Bars MasterCard that you would apply for when you set up your account. So let's go back to the packages and start to look at them in more detail. I'm going to go into this a little bit thoroughly because I want to make sure that you understand the relevance, and it really is very simple. Now, the packages prices are as follows. The bronze package is 125 euros, the silver is 347, the gold is 789, and the VIP package is 2012. Now, what I can tell you is I started with a VIP package because you'll see very shortly the reason I've done so. It was affordable for me to do at the time. I understand it's not necessarily for everyone, but I'm going to show you why I did it. Now, package bonuses that are paid are relevant to the package that you actually earn. So we've got 5% on the bronze, 10s on the silver, 15 on gold, and 20% on the VIP. So what that basically means is that if you buy, let's say, the gold package, you are entitled to receive 15% of anybody else's package that they buy when they come in. So let's say, for example, that you sponsored a VIP affiliate to join Carrot Bars. Somebody who's come in and bought the VIP package for 2012 euros because it's the right fit for them. So if you were on a bronze package yourself, you would have received 5% of that 212 euro package that the person you sponsored purchased. In other words, you'd receive 100 euros and 60. If you were on a silver package yourself, you would have received $201 as a thank you from Carrot Bars. Sorry, not dollars, euros. If you're on a gold package, you would have received 301 euros. And if you are a VIP member, you would have received 402 euros. So no doubt you've had a conversation with that individual. That's the very reason they've taken a look at Carrot Bars. You've spent some time, you've maybe spoken to them on the phone. And I know clearly, obviously, it takes the same amount of effort to maybe explain what has gone on to them. And I know, therefore, that for that same amount of effort, which I would prefer to have personally. Now, let's talk about what Carrot Bars do and how they enable us to receive those thank you payments. Each product that is purchased has got profit sharing built within it. A bronze package, when it's purchased, has got 5 units. A silver package has 20. A gold has 50. And a VIP package has 100 units attached to it. And that is shared back into the team accordingly. Now, gold, likewise, as people are buying gold, and if you have people, as I mentioned right at the start, that are either just wanting to buy gold in small quantities or maybe do both, then the gold units have also got a profit share back to the individuals concerned. So 5 grams of gold have 3 units, 2.5 have 2, 1 gram has 1 unit. And this is how the cycle bonus works. I've mentioned that we've talked about getting a direct thank you payment for referring somebody that buys a package and gets started. But in addition to that, and this is where you just need to step back and follow the chart that I'm about to show you, you receive a cycle bonus every time you've received 75 of the profit sharing units. And I'm going to show you exactly how that works. So if you're on a bronze, you've got 10, silver on 40, gold on 60, and if you're on a VIP package yourself, 80 euros. So you can start to understand the importance of carefully deciding which is the right package for you, because not only does that package determine the percentage of what you get paid as a thank you payment for Carrot Bars for anybody that comes and buys one of the 4 respective packages, but in addition to that, it also determines the amount of money that you receive in cycle bonuses once you receive 75 units of the profit share. Now, that's quite a lot to take in, but I promise you, it's all about to become very clear. So this slide, I guess, is me or you. There I am at the top. I bought a VIP package in my black egg sitting on the top. And as I've said, we're going to build a left and a right team. Now, on the top left of the screen, you'll see that it all relates in that information there to the cycle bonus. So we've just looked at the fact that if I was a VIP member, every time I get 75 units in my account, I receive 80 euros as a cycle bonus. On the right, I'm just reminding you that as a VIP member, I'm entitled to 20% of whatever somebody comes in with as their package. So let's see how, and this is a hypothetical situation, but I just want to explain to you how this works. So first of all, I've spoken to Peter, and Peter has done a little bit of due diligence, had a look at our website that we've built, so he's got a good understanding of what's gone on, and has decided that he wanted to come into Carrot Bars, as I did, as a VIP member. He's bought his package, and he is now up and running. Now, in addition to that, I've also spoken to Mike, and Mike is over on my left-hand side, or right as you're looking at it, and Mike feels the right fit for him as a gold package. Now, what you can see adjacent to both Peter and Mike is that as Peter has come in, it's bought 100 profit-sharing units in to my business. Not only my business, to everybody that is on that side of my business. And I'm going to explain that in more detail. Mike, likewise, has bought a gold package, and that carries 50 units with it. Now, as we've already said, every time I reach 75 units, and Carrot Bars don't differentiate whether that is made up from the left side or the right side, it will cycle a bonus payment. So when you add those two together, and there must be at least 25 on one side and 50 on the other, but it doesn't matter which way round they are. So in this instance, from Peter and Mike starting, there's 150 units. That then spins away 2 cycle bonuses. And because I'm a VIP member, I get 80 euros for that cycle bonus. And there are 2 of them. And that banks me €160 straight away. But don't forget that I also get, because my competitor are two people that I directly referred to Carrot Bars, a package bonus. Now, that package bonus is worth, because I'm a VIP member, 20% of Peter's VIP package that he bought, which is €402. And I'm also entitled to 20% of Mike's gold package that he bought, which is, he paid €789 for it. And my thank you from Carrot Bars is 157. So that gets banked as well, paid in the same way onto my Carrot Bars MasterCard. And that's done on weekly cycles. So let's see what happens from there. I've also referred Robert into the business, who's come in likewise similar to Mike and has got a gold package that's put 50 units into my downline. And this is interesting. Somebody has then dropped into my matrix lower down on my left-hand side, who I don't know. Now that's come from above. And what happens is people that are doing exactly what I'm doing above me are also filling my team. People are joining the business in the first available position. So I have no idea who that person is, but I can see that they've come in, they've purchased a VIP package because it's carrying 100 units with them. And I've also spoken to Jackie. Jackie felt she wanted to get started and has come in and bought a gold package that's carrying 50 units. So let's see what happens now. I've got another 50 units over on my right-hand side, or left as you're looking at it. And I've got 150 units now on my right-hand side, not made up from people that I've just bought in, but made up from everybody that is in that leg. Now that, as we know, every time it hits 75 units, we get 2 cycles. So again, that ticks over and away we go. And in addition to that, I'm also getting a payment and a thank you payment from Robert, who bought his package, a gold package at €789, paying me another 157 because I'm a VIP member and entitled to 20%. And also likewise from Jackie's. And of course, that gets paid weekly together with the 2 cycles. And so that gets banked accordingly. Now, I hope you're starting to see the pattern here, because this is where it starts to get very exciting. So what happens next? Well, a couple of weeks go by and various people have got to work, myself and people above me, and there are more and more people now that are dropping in below us, filling up those first available positions, and we can see that there are units attached to each member of those. And we know from the units in the top left box that you're looking at, 100 units, 50 units, 100 units, you can see the package that they've come in with, and therefore the units are representation of the profit sharing that Carrot Bars are giving back to us. Now, something very, very interesting then happens. I get a call from Robert, because all Robert did was he came in, he bought his gold package, didn't do anything further. Peter's got to work above him and has started showing this business to a lot of people who are very interested in gold and having it delivered to their door in small quantities, hedging against inflation and getting paid for doing so. Now, Robert's had an email from Carrot Bars telling him that his MasterCard has just been loaded with money. And that's because underneath Robert, on his right side, there's 420 units and there's 150 units on Robert's left side, which means that he's got 6 cycles and Robert's just earned 360 units instantly. Now, that's how simple the business is. But of course, on my business level, of course, there's more people that have come down my right side and my left side, and I've earned 660 units to one side, 150 on my left. That's then triggered 6 cycles, paying me another €480, and that gets banked accordingly. So that's it in a nutshell. I hope you've got to grips with it, but what I want you to do is hold on. In case you're somebody that doesn't know anyone, doesn't like anyone, doesn't like talking to others about fantastic opportunities like this, etc., then I want you to be aware that we've built a completely automated system that enables you to build this by simply giving somebody a link. You don't need to talk to them, though it always helps, but maybe you're somebody that's just not comfortable in doing that. So we've spent an awful lot of time in putting together a complete website that's fully automated. I'm going to go into a little more detail with that, which is going to enable you to simply give somebody a link and do a full Carrot Bars business explanation on your behalf. Now, I can tell you that it cost us over $3,000 to build. You'll have your very own website explaining the business for you. It's got built-in call scheduling, and what that simply means is that somebody who is watching the videos within the website is asked repeatedly to open a free account with yourselves and then to book a one-to-one call with you, or you and maybe your upline who want to do a three-way call to maybe answer some questions that they've got. That's a fully automated, phenomenal scheduling system. You get an email to say somebody would like to talk to you. It suggests some times that they'd like to talk to you at. You decide whether you want to accept those times or maybe suggest an alternative day and time that works for you, but you manage to schedule that to suit you. Now, at the same time, the minute that somebody has watched the first video presentation and they've put their details in, their name and their email, they then start to receive 22 emails, all coded with your own personal details in over a 45-day period. On the whole platform, on the website, there are free account buttons everywhere, encouraging people to go in and open a free account and then to contact you. Lots of videos, including a page with 20 how-to videos helping you how to get set up correctly within Carrot Bars from the start. And most importantly, there is a link creator page. So once you've decided that that's the route you'd like to go down and you want to purchase your package and get underway and share this opportunity with others, you then are in a position to give away the very same system that you've acquired to other people, and the link creator page allows them to create their very own unique link that they can then go on and share with other people. And you can start to see how this exponentially grows. Now, it's completely free to all Gold and VIP team members that decide to get started within Carrot Bars. So what should you do now? Well, first thing is that you want to register your free account. The reason you want to do that, well, very simply, is that that's because everybody else that's tuned in will be wanting to do exactly the same thing. And as I mentioned earlier on, the quicker you get in and register for your free account, those coming in after you will start to fill the matrix below you. Even if you decide that it's not right and you're not ready to get started now, go ahead and get registered. It costs you absolutely nothing to do that. And then you've got your position locked into the business, and we can start to show you how we're going to build an international team around this and how that is going to impact you directly week in, week out. And you'll be able to see that by simply logging into your back office, and it will show you the people that have got involved and how they've joined in the first place. So all those now coming in, what I would like you to do is go ahead, click the Get Started Now or Free Account button underneath. Thank you very much for watching the business presentation. I hope that that's explained the Carrot Bars concept. And please remember, you can watch this back anytime. Now, without any further ado, I'm going to drop out of the presentation. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, hopefully, if it works. And I believe that we are very fortunate to have Cheryl Ann Gober with us. Cheryl Ann, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can, loud and clear.
Good.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm very, very well indeed. Thank you, Cheryl Ann. Very excited to have you here. And can I just start by thanking you for making some time to come on board. I know you've got a lot on today, so I'm not going to keep you too long. But what I wanted to do is maybe if you could just give people tuning in, Cheryl Ann, some background on you, maybe how long you've been involved in Carrot Bars. And though I fully understand that we can't talk about specifics on earnings, etc., I'm sure there's a way of maybe you just imparting your experiences to date. And let me tell you, before Cheryl Ann comes in, Cheryl Ann is probably one of the major leaders here in the USA. I'm very lucky to be over here in California. But I'm going to let her steal the mic. I'll be quiet, which will please a lot of you. And she'll maybe give you a little bit of understanding of her time in Carrot Bars. Over to you, Cheryl Ann.
Well, thank you, Lee, and thanks for having me here today. You know, I'm really excited about what you're doing, the lead that you are taking, you know, with Carrot Bars. I'm always looking for new leaders because this company is just incredible. You know, my background with Carrot Bars, I come out of traditional business, the traditional business world. I'm not a networker, so to speak, what most people think of a network marketer. That was not me. I've been and owned my own sales organizations, my husband and I, for probably 30 years. And, you know, but we did everything the old fashioned way, nose to nose. You know, we've had a pretty, you know, very blessed background in business. And we've made a lot of connections over the years throughout our career. And, you know, we're no different than anybody else in business. You know, there's been moments of feast and there's been moments of famine. And we've had ups and downs in the business world. And, you know, back in 2008, 9, you know, I was a mortgage broker here in Nashville, Tennessee. And I had been doing that for about 7 years. And prior to that, my husband and I, we had one of the fastest growing alarm companies in the Southeast. 32 offices in 9 states. We were, it was, I mean, it was an incredible time period for us back in the 80s and, well, the early 90s and all of that stuff throughout the 90s and, not the 80s, but throughout the 90s. And, you know, into 2002, you know, my husband and I, we, you know, the company did so well. We had a business partner and we were doing so well that we gained the attention of a company called ADT, which I think most people recognize who ADT is.
Maybe just a bit.
Just a bit. We were with ADT when ADT was ADT and before the Tyco sell off, you know, around 2000. But my husband and I, along with our business partner, were actually contacted by ADT. We were putting in more deals and more alarm systems than anybody else in the country, including them, you know, with our limited offices. And they actually came to us. My husband's a golfer, so that meeting was held on the golf course without me. And and they discussed partnering up and you know, at that time I'm a pretty independent person. I really wasn't a fan of joining forces with anybody at that time. I thought we had a good thing as it was, but I was overruled, and we, you know, partnered with ADT and brought forth what's known today as the ADT Authorized Dealer Program that went nationwide and later went international. And it was a great thing for about 10 or 11 years. And then, of course, Tyco bought it out. And, you know, I won't go into the rest of the story. I think most people have seen the program American Greed with Dennis Kowalski.
Yeah.
How the SEC brought him down for spending money that was not his. Count me in on that. I was front page. So I've been in corporate America. I've been on the front lines of the ugliness of corporate America. You know, I've been kicked in the gut a time or two. That was a pretty big gut kick to know that all of our back end money was foolishly given away to people and thrown on parties and everything. But long story short, you know, we've got a God-given ability to get up, and we've got this survival nature that no matter what comes our way, we got to get up and fight for another day. So we did that, and that's what brought me to the mortgage business. And then again, 2008 hit. The market's going crazy. The real estate bubble popped. Here I'm in this business, and I'm like, oh Lord, what am I doing? And but you know, I was very fortunate in that business. I owned my own building. I was debt free. We're very blessed in that industry, but the banks were not loaning and lending. You know, one of my last customers had an 840 Beacon score. For those of you that understand credit scores, 840 Beacon score, needed a 40% loan to value cash out to help do some home improvements. Had been self-employed for over 20 years, wanted to do the loan on, as most businesses do, on bank statements instead of income. If you're a business owner, most of them do bank statements or something like that when they do loans. Well, they had shut that off and banks were not lending. And when I saw them turn that loan down, I'm like, you know, this is not good. And I had been holding on, thinking the markets were going to come back, you know, listening to everything the Fed said every week and trying to find something because these people needed help. And what I was seeing was one bank close after another. I had friends in the industry that literally lost everything. Had a friend that had he was the largest pass-through lender in the Southeast. He had pass-through lenders. They basically hold a lot of loans for a period of time before they sell them off. Well, the banks called those due. And he, even though he had it on paper, he didn't have it in liquid form. And in a matter of night, this guy had given $1 million to our community the year before. He was a big philanthropist. And within a matter of weeks, he was destroyed. And it ended up taking a family property that had been in his family for over 100 years, all the way down to his wedding rings. I saw people during that period of time that were experiencing a pain that few will ever know. It hurt them on a level that some of them never got back up again. We all have moments in our life to where things happen beyond our control, and it stinks, but we get up, and we have to. We don't have any other choice. But this was a time period in American history that there was a lot of people that just could not get up again. And we see our economy today, it's still not where it was and where it needs to be. Our GDP is not growing. Our debt is getting ridiculous. This country is $20 trillion in debt. And that's not talking about 200 trillion in unfunded liabilities over the next 10 years. So when you look at that, you can get pretty discouraged. And I tell people, we throw words around all the time, and we talk about a million, a billion, a gazillion, a trillion, and we hear these words, but we need to put them in context. When we say words, I'm a believer that there's power of life and death in the tongue and what we say. Some words that we come out of our mouth, we do not stop and think about the impact and what we're saying. And Lee, I ask everybody this. This is the first time that you've done your Google Hangout here, and you may know the answer to this question. But if I ask you to tell me what $1 trillion or 1 trillion seconds was into the future, could you tell me what 1 trillion, not 20 trillion, not 200 trillion, but just 1 trillion seconds are into the future? Can you tell me where we'd be?
No, I'll give that a pass. I didn't realize you're going to put me on the spot quite like that today.
I know, I'm good at that. Well, put it this way: if you went out and blew $1 million a day from the time Christ was born, $1 million a day, you could not have blown $1 trillion. 1 trillion seconds from now, if you started counting right now, no potty breaks, no food breaks, no nothing, no sleep, no nothing. 1 trillion seconds into the future. Are you ready for this? How about trying 32,000 years into the future?
That's crazy.
And we're 20 trillion in debt with 200 trillion in unfunded liabilities. You stop and think about words like a trillion. It rolls so easily off the tongue. But the impact of what that really means is daunting. We can't print it fast enough. That's why we have digital everything today. We've got cards in our pockets everywhere, whether it be a credit card or debit card. We're living in a digital age. There are countries now trying to get rid of cash and go to a cashless society because they can't print the money. In the U.S., we're fortunate because for the time period, we have the U.S. dollar is the reserve currency for the world. Everybody's, pegged to that U.S. dollar. And that's getting questioned now because of It's almost like an addiction to tax money, to money, period, and what they're doing with our money. I am pro-government. I love our country. But I do have to question the addiction to money that a lot of people in power are doing, and what it means for us moving forward. We're in trouble. But you stop and think, well, how do the rich get richer? How does the elite deal with this? And when you go back and you research this, they're getting gold. It's been a protection for 5,000 years. It's insurance. A lot of people in the US and in some places around the world, they've been taught that gold is an investment. It's not an investment. Let me say that right now. We're not talking about gold as an investment. If you want gold as an investment, you can go over to your nearest broker. He'll sell you some ETFs, which is what we call paper gold, and you can go bet on the stock markets and hope that they go up and that they don't go down. I know what happened to me in 2008. I lost about 60% of my stock market portfolio. Most other people, some fared better, some fared worse in '07 and '08. But we lost about 60% of that, of what we had built up, for our retirement. It was just wiped out. It was gone. No excuses. Just, it's life. But what I've seen and what I was watching, and I think God brought me to Carrot Bars for a specific reason. We're supposed to lay up an inheritance for our children. With the way the markets work, it's getting harder and harder and harder. Our grandparents that went through a depression, they taught us to save. They taught us to prepare for those rainy days. My grandparents, if they put it on your plate, you ate it. You did not complain. They were not like my kids that snarled up their nose and said, I don't want that. We didn't have a choice. We knew not to even question that. We ate what was in front of us and we appreciated it. It's a different world today. Our elders used to be able to retire. They called it the golden years. And the reason they called it the golden years is because gold always backed their money until 1971. Since 1971, this world has changed. It used to be the dad went to work every week. Mom stayed at home with the kids. Once gold was removed from backing our money, everything has changed. Now, in the 70s, you started seeing women go into the workforce. And yeah, they were there before. There were career women, and that's great. But overall, the majority of women at that time started entering. I'm getting a little echo. Let me try something.
Let me mute off for a minute.
Okay. Okay. Think that's it. But nevertheless, the women started entering the workforce. Now we've got latchkey kids. One of the biggest travesties, I think, is we started seeing in the 90s, especially, our elders having to re-enter the workforce. People that could not retire when they were, set to retire. They didn't have the money. We've got a lot of our seniors right now that have to make a tough decision between, paying for living expenses or for pharmaceuticals. We see them at Walmart, and it pains my soul when I walk into Walmart and see a senior hand me a cart, because they've had to re-enter the workforce when they should be enjoying their golden years. And those jobs are not there for our college students coming out of college. They're going to college, they're spending all of this money, and the job market's very limited for them to earn a living that, I've got 3 of my adult children living with me right now. And our family is no different than other families, to where we have parents coming and we're living with parents, or bringing our parents to live with us. Our kids are staying home longer, because what it boils down to is it's taking more dollars to buy the same things that it did in 1970 than it does today. You know, a pound of hamburger in 1970 was about 49 cents a pound, 39 cents a pound. It's about $5.99 a pound now. Still the same hamburger. Still the same cows. They hadn't changed much in the last 1,000 years. 5,000 years a cow's cow. But why is that hamburger 49 cents then and $5.99 or $4.99 a pound now? You know, it's still the same cow, but our dollar is being eroded. It takes more dollars now, today, to buy the same things than it did in 1971. The difference, and when you study this, you'll find out gold is the only thing that has kept purchasing power and given it to the people. It is a protection, it is an insurance. If I had an ounce of gold in 1930, when it was legal to own it here in the country, if I had an ounce of gold, it would take me about $35 in 1930 money to buy that ounce. And if I had 2 boxes, and Lee, let's just say I put $35 in one box in dollar bills, and I put 1 ounce of gold in another box, and I fast forward to 2017, which box do you want? Exactly, exactly. So, you know, 1930, I could have bought my husband a really nice suit. You know, those top hats were really popular at that time. He could have had him a great big old top hat, the little silk scarf around his neck, silk tie, best leather shoes money could buy. We could have went out to dinner. We could have filled his car up with gas. We'd have money left over if we tried to spend $35 in 1930. But I can move forward today, and that $35 in that one box will not fill up my gas tank. That's sad. But I can take that ounce of gold, and that ounce of gold, I can still, for $1,300, I can still go buy him a pretty nice suit. I promise you, I bought Armani's. He's got them. You know, he's got the nice leather. And I'm going to have a lot of money left over, and he can still take me to the movies and out to a nice dinner, fill his gas tank up. Gold hedges against inflation over time. And we talk about since 1930 to now. Um, what about 1970 until now? How about just 10 years ago when gold was 250 an ounce? And again, I'm not talking about it as an investment. I'm talking about gold. Physical gold is insurance. You know, insurance against a dollar that's devaluing. You need something in your possession. And this is what the rich do. They turn to metals, primarily gold. The elite, only 1% of the world, you know, saves gold, physical gold. Because they understand that how kingdoms were built, dynasties were built, countries were founded, including the U.S. They use countries, banks, the central bank. They're hoarding physical gold. And we've got to do the same thing as citizens. Now, can we go buy kilos? Could the everyday citizen go buy a kilo? No. You know, can we go buy a gram of gold? Absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, it's kind of like get in where you fit in. We've got to change the path that we're on. We've got to quit spending and thinking that that big screen TV is more important than our future. So carrot bars to me, when I first heard it, Lee, if people had known this before 2008, how many lives and families and properties could have been saved had people known what I call the secrets of the wealthy? You know, so when Carrot Bars was brought to us, friend from our old ADT business, knew a guy in Europe that was friends with Harold Seitz, and he told him about our past. They get Harold on the phone with us. You know, and I'm gonna say this to your audience. I don't know the background of some of them, but people find this funny. You know, again, I go back to the traditional business. That was me. I had a bad mindset when it came to these network marketers. You know, I'd seen scams, I'd seen all of those crazy things, and I wasn't gonna be part of that. So, you know, I was a snob, I guess, a network marketing snob. And for 3 months, I told Harold Seitz no. You know, I've owned my own businesses. I didn't want to go to work for him. How am I going to go to work for a German company when I can't speak German? And Harold turned around and 3 weeks later was speaking English, taught himself English out of respect. And I started seeing who he was as a person, and a little spiritual journey I had on this, which we'll get into another day. But this was a God thing for me. I think we have a obligation to protect our brothers and sisters and empower them with truth. And I have personally, this was back in 2009. I've been here for over 7 years, 7.5 years. Almost 2 years of that, there was no company, but I believed in what this company was going to do. The first few years we were open, as your sponsor will tell you, all we had was the unilevel. You weren't going to earn a lot of money. It was a nice gift, but you weren't going to walk away rich, and it was definitely not going to bring the income in that I was used to. But something just kept gnawing at me that this was bigger than me. It was bigger than Harold. It was bigger than all of that. People need to understand this message that they need to protect what they have. And I got behind the mission, even with the unilevel. You know, we made some money, but it was definitely not enough to write back home about until September 2012, when Harold brought this dual team system in, because he understood people could get behind the mission, but they also needed to make money so they could buy more gold. And since that time period in Carrot Bars, it has absolutely became, you know, what's the word I want to use? It's changed so many lives.
So let me ask you a question, Cheryl Ann. And obviously in that time, and that's great insight as to why people should be doing it, which I think is probably the bigger and more important question. And, you know, you talked about the fact that people have turned to, we've seen what's gone on in Russia, where their economy has just crashed. And, you know, the first thing they turned to was to stockpile and buy as much possible gold that they could. Your team now that you've got with the dual plan, as obviously I think you may have seen some of the presentation that I went through, where we have two teams, one on the left and one on the right. What sort of numbers of people now? I've talked about the fact that there's obviously nearly 500,000 or maybe over 500,000 customers now worldwide. What sort of numbers are below you in your team, people that you've been able to help and help others who have then gone on and done the same thing?
Out of those, we haven't hit a 500,000 yet. We're very close to that.
Okay.
My team is right at 400,000 people of that.
400,000. That's pretty impressive.
It's a blessing. It's you know, we've got people in 124 countries. Harold talked to me about bringing English-speaking countries. And now I'm in 120 countries, and there's languages I cannot speak. But we have been gifted incredible leaders that have carried the torch.
Yeah, I think that's amazing, Cheryl Ann, because, you know, there's people here who are thinking, well, you know, maybe I only know 3 or 4 people, and you're talking about the numbers of 400,000 people below you in your team. And the point I really wanted to try and get across was that it is very much, and I'm sure you'll back me up on this, it is very much a team effort. This is not about you as an individual having to go and find endless people. If you're not in that space, you're not a networker, you don't know that many people, whatever it may be. We understand totally that everybody is very unique and very different. But where this pays dividends, and clearly you've clarified that, Cheryl Ann, is the fact that everybody is working together. And one, I think, you know, I've been involved in some things that have worked incredibly well and I've made an awful lot of money from, and others that haven't, is the simplicity of this, where Harold Seitz has enabled everybody with the dual team plan to get the benefit of every single person that is coming in down that line, to help them then leverage and then to buy more gold. And it's just a vicious circle.
It's been incredible, you know, and the point I'm making here is I'm a nobody in the street. You know, people are coming to me, do you know this one, all these legends. in network marketing. Here I am, this little girl from Tennessee, that's had a great career in business, no college education. No, I mean, I did graduated or got a degree, but I do have a degree in common sense and trying to help people. And this is what you need for success with Carrot Bars. You got to care about people. You've got to want better for yourself and for those people around you. And if it really does bother you that people are living paycheck to paycheck, maybe you, maybe somebody else, or maybe you don't have more than, 5,000 or 10,000 saved for those rainy days, and you're not comfortable with that, then you really need to take a look at Carrot Bars, because we're the only company on the planet that is not trying to get you to spend a dime. We don't want your money. Lee, if I gave you $1 and you gave me 4 quarters, did either one of us spend money? Nope. What we do in Carrot Bars, we do 2 things really good. We save money and we make money. If you tell some people about Carrot Bars, you're going to save some money. You're going to make money. If you want to be really successful and a top leader with Carrot Bars, you tell a lot of people, and you save a lot of money and you make a lot of money by telling a lot of people. But if you yourself have a passion for people and you believe firmly that there's got to be a better way than the rat race that most people are living, you need to take a look at Carrot Bars. At the end of the day, would I rather have a garage full of lotions, potions, peels, juices, or do I want a garage full of gold? I
think we know the answer to that.
I never spend money. I take one form of currency and change it in for real money. It's still mine. And at the last, we just celebrated our 50th year anniversary here in America. In 5 years, no matter what happened with ADT and that gut punch, what happened to me in the mortgage industry with the markets going crazy. Today, for the first time in my life, I have something that's mine. And that gold is mine. And it don't matter what the makers do. The markets do. None of that matters anymore. I'm in control of my future, the legacy that I leave much, and the confidence and the peace of mind that gives is incredible. So if you're out there and you're in a situation where you don't have enough saved, and for those what ifs down the road, if you think you need to have a different path, you need to take a look at Carrot Bars, because if you'll do what I did, and I said I'm going to give this 5 years, 5 years, and if I could tell you, if you could see what I've amassed in 5 years, you would work every day, tell everybody that you could. You would not turn back. And I'm telling you, that's how easy it is. Make a commitment to not only change your world, but the world around you. And you're going to find more success in Carrot Bars than anything you've ever done in your life. What we do is important. It's an important education message to get out. But we're changing people's lives. I've seen 3 homeless people, Lee. 3 homeless people living on the streets that didn't have a dime, that ended up having to go to a library, use a computer, beg people to borrow their phones, because they all have connections. One guy had a company that let him come in the back and sleep in the back room when the business shut down, and he'd use their phone. 3 people that went from totally homeless to completely set free in Carrot Bars in less than a few months.
Yeah, that's incredible, Cheryl Ann. And I think the 2 things that you've mentioned there is I'd like to pick up on. One is control, Control is critical. For those of you that are tuned in that have been involved in various online businesses, as I have been, I'm not setting myself aside from that, where you're clicking and earning money for watching ads. You mentioned lotions and potions and you name it. The biggest issue that you have is you're out of control. You do not run the company. Okay, we don't run Carrot Bars, but what we are able to do is to have the biggest asset, which is gold, delivered to our door, and we are in complete control. And that is key, because unless you're in control of your finances, as Cheryl Ann has mentioned, then you're at the whim of anything. It could be authorities that don't like a particular venture. It could be the business being run poorly. It could be absolutely anything. And the second thing, which Cheryl Ann has just alluded to, is me going back to the point that this business is for everybody. People who haven't got any money, have limited disposable income. There's an example of 3 people that didn't even have a home that were able to get back on their feet, start talking to other people, share the business, tell people about the business, get rewarded for doing so, and so it then spirals up from there. Great story, Cheryl Ann.
There's one after another, Lee. And I hope your story and those in your team are the next story I tell.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. We are a bit over the hour mark, which is slightly longer than I wanted to be by a fraction, but I really appreciate you taking time out. It's been invaluable for people to understand and hear your background. I think it's going to resonate with so many people that you're not from the networking world. You're just another person that worked their socks off and went through the highs and lows of the years of boom and bust, got to grips and worked hard in sharing and empowering other people to have a better life for themselves, and to end up with, and fully deserved, because I know how hard you've worked. You know, I've been on the edge of this for a long time. Delighted that I'm now all in, which will please you. But most importantly, I think it's a story that you've told that everybody can relate to, that if they just get on and they use both sides of the business, they hedge and look to secure their future by buying the gold in small quantities. That's the control element. And then you're going to tell other people. You can't help but tell other people. And that's where it starts to get very, very exciting. So thank you, Cheryl Ann, very much for joining us. I know you've got a pressing schedule. We'll no doubt be in contact over the next week or so with various things that are going on. Thank you for being here, and have a great week, what's left of it. And,
my pleasure.
To everybody
please
else,
reach out.
carry on. I will.
Do not hesitate to contact me if you need me. And that's for your entire team. Anybody that needs me, I am available.
That I know from personal experience. So thank you very much.
Okay.
To everybody else, thank you very much for tuning in. And there's a lady. Just think about whether you think that, you know, you've had it hard, where you've had maybe 5 or 6 people that you've been giving a helping hand out to. Cheryl Ann's had 400,000 people below her that she's helped. And what a great feeling. Let's just get real from it. What a great feeling to be able to not only look after yourself, which is, I understand, in some instances the most important thing to do, but to then be in a position to help other people and stay in control. So if you have any questions, time's run over. I'm not going to go to Q&A. Please get in touch. We're very available. Let me tell you one thing as a parting note. We're 100% committed to building a phenomenal business, not only for ourselves, but for our team in Carrot Bars. We're going to adopt Cheryl Ann's approach, which is to help everybody else. And let me tell you, the better you do, the better I do and we do. This is a team event where we can all help one another achieve the sort of things that Cheryl Ann has done. So stop sitting on the fence. Let's get talking and make sure that we put a plan together that can help you have a brighter future moving forward. Thank you for tuning in. And this video, please make sure everybody is aware, is available on this channel for the next 7 days until we record another Hangout. Thanks very much. Take care.